Alrighty, so going over lesson 2 homework. Question number 1. When Han makes chocolate milk, he mixes 2 cups of milk with 3 tablespoons of chocolate syrup. Here is a table that shows how to make batches of different sizes. Okay, so now question number 2 says use the information in the table to complete the statements. Some terms are used more than once. Okay, so we have a bank of terms here, so it's easy to miss. Pen's off again. So I have teaspoons of chocolate syrup, 4 cups of milk, cup of milk, and then 3/2. So I'm just going to fill in the blanks. Okay. First I want to do is just analyze the table. It might make it a little bit easier. So what do I notice here? I notice that 2 cups of milk is for 3 tablespoons of chocolate syrup. I notice that my scale factor from vertically is 4. And I also notice that my ratio, which isn't written in the table yet, my ratio of syrup to milk is 3:2. Okay, so my scale factor is what is scaling my recipe up, right? The scale factor from line 1 to line 2 is 4, whereas my ratio of syrup to milk is 3/2. So now let's think. So the table shows a proportional relationship between blank and blank. So what am I comparing? I have cups of milk compared to tablespoons of chocolate syrup. So proportional relationship means just compare your 2 categories. So it shows a proportional relationship between cups of milk and tablespoons of chalk syrup. The scale factor shown is, and again, scale factor is going from one recipe to the next. So what is my scale factor that is making my recipe larger? That scale factor is 4. Scale up from recipe 1 to recipe 2 by multiplying by 4. The constant of proportionality for this relationship is, and constant of proportionality, that's just your unit rate, and that's just your ratio. It all means the same thing. A lot of different language, all meaning the same thing. So as we get further in math, we just like using really complicated words for some reason. But constant of proportionality is just that ratio, and it's just that same unit rate that you did last year in 6th grade. So constant of proportionality is 3/2. Okay. And the units for the constant proportionality are, so exactly what I did whenever I found my ratio, I did syrup to milk. So it is tablespoons of chocolate syrup per cup of milk. So keep in mind when you're talking about constant of proportionality or your unit rate, you're always talking about the right side of your table per 1 unit in your left. So how many tablespoons of chocolate syrup are in there in 1 cup of milk? So I have 3/2. If I want to go ahead and make that into a decimal so it makes a little bit more sense, that means I have 1.5 tablespoons of syrup per cup of milk. Okay, so when it talks about my unit, I have tablespoons, chalk syrup per cup of milk. So you want to make sure you're picking that right, that one. There is a difference between cups of milk and cup of milk. When you're talking about constant of proportionality or unit rate, it's always how the right side of your table changes for 1 unit in the left.